Buenas tardes, good evening, welcome to Que Pasa Mujer. Good afternoon and welcome to Que Pasa Mujer. Bienvenidos a Que Pasa Mujer. Estamos aquí todos los domingos a las 4 de la tarde. We're here every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And Happy New Year, feliz años. Bienvenidos al 2024. So welcome to 2024. I hope it has been amazing for you guys. I hope that you're keeping up with your resolutions for 2024. I'm constantly evaluating myself. Siempre me estoy evaluando a ver si todavía estoy siguiendo mis resoluciones para el nuevo año. Los escribo y cada ratico estoy mirando a ver si en realidad estoy haciendo esos cambios. Entonces, ojalá que ustedes también estén haciendo los cambios o estén al día con los cambios que han decidido hacer. Como a la medianoche nos comemos una uva por cada mes. So in the Latino community, we usually eat one grape per month on New Year's Eve. And so each grape is a wish for each month. So cada uva es representa cada mes y lo que vamos a hacer un sueño sí, creo que es un sueño para cada mes. So I hope that you guys have your resolutions going and that, we can make some changes for 2024. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about, Maddie's going to join us shortly because she's on the road. Nicte is going to take a little break from Que Pasa Mujer for a couple of weeks while she's taking care of some family business. But Maddie's going to join us whenever she joins. She'll just, Mark, our producer, will bring her on. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Latino and the economy. I read an article that it's labeled Gifts Latinos Give to America. And it just kind of gave some really good statistics about how much money we spend in the United States. In reference to the Latino community, right? And I know we kind of have touched on it before. So one of the things that they mention is we have 3.2 trillion with a T, $3.2 trillion that we spend in the Latino community. And then they also talked about how we produce is a 3.4. Oh, thank you, Mark. That's the graphic. It's a 3.4 trillion GDP rate. So the GDP rate is a mathematical equation that, of course, I'm not good at, but it's pretty much it tells you how healthy either the country or that certain whatever community, like for example the Latinos, so how healthy their economy is. So if we look at this graphic here, right, it kind of talks about, it says so again, the 3.4 trillion is the Latino GDP, right? So GDP stands for the gross domestic products, right? So it's kind of like a formula of economic output and how healthy our economy is. The graphic also mentions that Latinos spend $3.2 trillion annually. And this is a study that was done by the Hispanic Sentiment in 2023. So it's very current information. Latinos gift to people seek for opportunities. 55% of all new businesses are Latino since 2010 as well. 2.9 million new jobs are created by Latinos. On the second portion of it talks about how we share the values, and the top values in our community is family, loyalty, resilience, hard work, perseverance, innovation, culture, and service. And then the last column talks about that we are more united than ever. So we increased from 14% to 48% in the last 5 years. So it's one of the Latinos have been able to stay united and continue to stay united compared to any other culture in the United States. Also, we have 64% feel proud of being Latino. And we'll talk a little bit about the rest of the percentage because we'll talk a little bit why some people may not feel proud to be Latino. The next stat says 83% of Latino think that the U.S. is the best country in the world. And again, we'll talk about that percentage that doesn't think that as well. So all of this information, um, let me make sure I wasn't missing anything. So all of this information, like I said, was gathered by a study that was made by the Hispanic Sentiment in 2023. Um, and there's a lady that wrote an article that I was reading. Her name is Claudia Romo. She is Mexican, and she's also, I think she spent some time in Sweden as well. So she kind of talks in her article. She says Latinos are the drivers of the American economy. That's what she said. So I kind of like that statement that she made. Latinos are the drivers of the American economy for it to prosper. Because, like I said, we do spend $3.2 trillion in the United States, and it is the fastest growing community. One interesting thing about the article, it said that tortillas are sold more than bread, which I thought was so interesting. And then they also said that we sell more salsa than ketchup as well. So I thought that was kind of like interesting and some funny facts. But apparently, I think Maddie's here, so she's gonna go ahead and join us, and we'll pick up a little bit when it comes to the economy. Hi, Maddie. You're on the go.
Hi, how you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Happy
We're
20.
doing good.
I was gonna say happy 2024.
Yes, thank you. Happy 2024. I know it got here so quick, but every 24 hours it refreshes and we have a new day, a new beginning. But we're just talking about the graphic that I send you, Maddie. We're just kind of talking about the fact that we spend $3.2 trillion in the United States as a community, and I was just saying how that a lady by the name of Claudia Romo wrote this article. In her article, she mentions that Latinos are the drivers of the American economy in reference to prosperity because we spend so much money and also because it's growing so quickly. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's not just that we're spending, but it is the fastest growing community in the United States in reference to growth. And I'm sure you see it all the time because we have a lot of homeowners, a lot of entrepreneurs. As a community, we've always believed that education is important as well. So a lot of us are getting more educated, making sure that we're educated. One of the things right before you came on, one of the things that the article said was that in the United States, more tortillas are sold than bread, and there's more salsa being sold than ketchup. So watch out because we're taking over. So tell me a little
That is
bit
so
what you
true.
think about that, like when it comes to like home ownership and like all those numbers that I mentioned.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the home ownership part, it's funny because we always talked about how Latinos come to the United States, and the goal is to save enough money to go home and buy a house. Like that was the mentality of our parents, at least. When my parents came to the United States, they were not American citizens, so they came to get enough money to work and go back home and buy a house. That's the dream. But I think as you live here and you get to live here and you raise your children here, I think like that's the biggest difference. We have children and we raise our children here. The mentality is not going home anymore. This is home. How can we make this home? And that's the American dream. So I think that mentality of going back home and buying a house in your country of origin has become more of how can I put it? Kind of like more of like an investment kind of thing now instead of being your primary goal. So your primary goal is to buy a home, to make a home here in the United States, make this life, the American dream, and then invest in your home country. So I think that shift has made a big difference, and I mean we can see it. Where the highest purchasing power. The article talked about how our culturally we're assimilating into the American culture as well. One of the fastest, I guess, like the American community wants to learn more about us. It says something about like 85% of the American culture eats Mexican at least once a week.
Right, right, right.
So things like that. So I think, we are a big part of this community of I mean, of the United States, and we cannot deny that.
Yeah, I love it. I wanted to ask you because one of the things that the graphic kind of showed is said that 64% of Latinos feel proud of being Latino, right? So tell me, why do you think that other percent why do you think there's a percentage of people that don't think that they don't feel proud of being Latino? What are some reasons?
I think it goes back to, we are in the process of this mind shift. I think it goes back to that belief that we had, again, that our parents had when they came to the United States. You got to learn to speak English because we have to assimilate. Our goal is to be the same as everybody else and not to stand out. And I think a little bit of that mentality is still out there. There's still that fear that I won't speak in public because I have an accent, and then people are going to know that I am not from here. Again, for me, like I could say, speak for myself. Growing up, I am American, but I did grow up in the Dominican Republic. So when I came back to the United States, it was very important for me to kind of practice in front of the mirror and try to talk. And I didn't want to have an accent, and I was very self-conscious about all of those things. And again, it wasn't until later on that you kind of learn your culture, and you become proud of who you are, and you understand that we are not just one thing, we are a mixture of different things. So, but I think it does take time, and it takes the work, again, that we do, kind of sharing, bringing new information to the public, and a lot of the things that are out there, seeing people that look like you on TV and on the magazines and things like that. All of that has had a big impact. And even though we're up to 85%, we still got that 15% that still needs to catch up, and that we're still working on. So I think there's still a lot of that old belief still out there.
Yeah, I agree. I remember I went to a community forum, and the lady was from Panama, and she was just saying how thankful she was to this country. To this country, it's kind of like it kind of aligned with the in the graphic where it says that 83% of Latinos think that the United States is the best country in the world, and she was just so passionate about how great the United States is that she even joined the FBI to be able to give back to her to the country, right? And I had never really thought about it that way because when I came to this country, I never felt that poverty when I was in my countries. And when I came here, I came on an airplane. So I've been privileged. I would say that word to how my lifestyle has been, and I haven't experienced the poverty or anything like that that other people have. So I realized that my appreciation for this country was not as high as hers, and it was because of that, because of how I was raised versus how she was raised. But at the end of the day, we're both Latinas, and we are both contributing to the economy here, right? And we do, because I think this country is amazing because it gives you opportunities to do pretty much whatever you want, right? If you're in different economic levels, it's because you choose to be there. It's by choice. So I found that kind of interesting. In reference to what you were talking about, home ownership, it does, I kind of fall under that category of, yes, I've had multiple homes here that I've purchased and then I sold them, and but I never really thought about going back to Colombia until recently, because now I'm an adult. But I would go, but not permanently. Like, I still feel like I'm here and this is me, and my children are here, and one day my children are going to have children, and I'm going to want to be here. So I look at more, like you said, as an investment to buy something in Colombia, for me to have a place to stay when I go and visit long term.
But I also think that has a lot to do because when you came to the United States, you were little, you were very young.
Yeah.
So this is what you know. As an adult growing up, this is what you knew. It's very different when you live in those countries. You were talking about that lady from Panama. She probably got to live there. She grew up there, and she went through all these struggles, a big portion of her life, that when she came here to the United States, she could compare. But with you, you were so young that for you living over there, doesn't probably make sense. It didn't register until you were an adult and you got over there and you got to experience the life over there, you know. So
Right.
I think, that also has a lot to do with it. If you never lived in that country, and never got to experience that, not even as an adult, but as a older teenager, like got to experience the life, you would not be able to do a fair comparison to what it is living here or living over there. Again, I came also young. I came back to the States when I was like 13. But I grew up around hearing my parents, like, we want to buy a house. That's the dream. We want to buy a house back in the Dominican Republic. To me, it was never my dream. It has never been my dream because, again, this is what I know. I've lived in the US my whole life, and I raised my children here. So, again, to me, the investment part of it, it's kind of what makes sense because, you know, my family's in America.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Um, It's funny. So just to change the topic a little bit. So you're on the road, and it made me think about the graphic, like the middle section, where it talks about the shared values that we have as a community, right? And I know that you're traveling because you went to see your niece. I guess she runs track. I'm assuming.
Yes, she runs for George Mason University, so I'm wearing my Mason colors. That's the shirt, and it's green and yellow. So go Patriots!
And it makes me think of like the shared values part, right? So it's uh like you are like living it right now, right? Because it's like family, it's royalty, it's resilience, it's hard work, it's perseverance, because you're on the road but you still show up to the show, so it's your dedication to what we do, because I think it's amazing. And you say more than any of us about the platform that this show allows us to do, because it's exposure to our culture, is exposure to Latinos, is exposure, because it's not just for women but just in general the Latino community. So I just wanted to just point that out, because you're living these values that we see on the graphic, and I think it's amazing because you're always on the go, on the move, and it's usually family related. You're all about your boys and your family, and you do a good job. It looks to me from far away, even to do your own thing too, as you do your poetry and you go out and perform and compete and all that stuff that you do. So I think that's pretty cool that you're able to juggle all of that. I don't know if she heard us, but anyway, so can you hear us, Maddie? Oh, she's muted. There she goes. Yeah, so like that's a lot of
Can you hear
our
me?
community is based on that. Yeah, now we can.
Viviana, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We always have
Can you hear
not
me?
always, but yes, we can hear you. We always have techie issues sometimes when one of us is on the road, but yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. So yeah, thank you for that. Like I try, I again, family is always important, and I think we need to support each other. So I try to do my best, to kind of be there for them. So my niece just like I said, she goes to George Mason. She's a freshman, and this is her first collegiate meet. And I think it was important for her. Her parents are always there, but it's always important to see other people and to feel supported by other members of the family as well. I think that means a lot to her, and it says a lot not only to her but to the people around her, that she has this whole village behind her. And I think that's what our culture does. So it's funny, like it's like you to events like this, you see the Hispanic families, and you see the titi and the uncle and the cousins, and like a whole bunch of people, and people look at us like we're crazy, but that's we come in bunches, wherever
Right.
we go and whatever we do. So I think that's one of the things that sets us apart. like that family, that core value, that's very much part of our culture. Wherever, I go, if this is our core, wherever we go, we all go, you know?
Yeah. So do they do that? Do other people come over to your boys' events too, or this is like a Maddie thing? You go on the road for all.
Oh no, no, it's a family thing, So whenever the boys play locally, whenever there's so my son is starting to play baseball for King University in Bristol, Tennessee, and his first game is gonna be on the second, and it's gonna be televised. So I guarantee you that we're gonna be in somebody's house, all watching the game and cheering him on, even though he can't hear us. So, but it's little things like that, So if we can make it, we're always there. So I am very grateful for my family. Like I'm here in Virginia, and here I only have my husband's sister, and my in-laws. So my husband's side of the family is kind of here. So it's a small group, but we're very close. And anytime anything is happening, it's like, okay, how are we gonna get together? How are we gonna get to be part of wherever we're going? It's kind of one of those things.
Very good, very good. So I know we haven't seen each other in about 2 weeks, so we just need to catch up a little bit. We were talking about how Latinos we do the 12 grapes on New Year's Eve, so we could give our wishes, the wish that we have per month. So I just wanted to know a little bit about how your New Year's Eve went, and what are some of the resolutions that you have for 2024, and are you keeping up with them?
Well, we just started, Viviana, first, so don't put
I
that
know, but
pressure
it's
on
been
me.
7 days. That's a lot. That's like a whole week.
So it was funny because we couldn't do Christmas because a lot of the family, couple of the family members got sick, and we didn't want to get together and spread germs and stuff. So Christmas was very lonely. So then for New Year's, we decided, to kind of catch up, and we had planned a Grinch Christmas. So we decided to make it a Grinch New Year's. So we dressed in our PJs, and we got together and got to spend that time together with family. So as far as the resolutions, like of course, the 12th grade is a big deal. So that was one of the things that we wanted to do. But of course, last minute, like a true Latino, left it for last minute, and then went to the store, and there was no grapes, so we couldn't do the 12 grapes. So what we ended up doing, and this one that I just learned, I wasn't too sure about this one, but I did it. They said that to grab lentils, and then when the clock strikes midnight, just throw the lentils up, and then you have to gather them and put them in a little pouch, a red pouch, and put them inside your purse, and that's gonna bring money. So I have to say that I threw my lentils, I gather my lentils, and I have them in a little napkin. That's why I haven't seen any money. I have them in a little napkin, so I'm looking for my little red pouch so that I can put them in my purse. But that was fun. I had never done that one. I know my sister-in-law was hating us because she probably got a bunch of lentils on her floor after we left.
I'm sure. I'm like, because as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh my God, que reguero. But I guess
See?
everybody has to pick them up, so it works. Everybody grab 12.
Yes, so that was one. The other fun one, and actually one of the girls that was with us, she actually did it. So she brought her suitcase. You know how it says when after the clock hits midnight, you take your suitcase and you kind of run around the neighborhood, and that signifies, that you're gonna get a chance to travel in the new year. So she did that, and that was hilarious. It was too cold, so I did not go outside. But yeah, a lot of that was happening. A lot of running around with a suitcase like crazy people. So I know the people in the neighborhood were like, what has gotten into these people?
Right, right, right. Oh my God, that is funny. We didn't
Yeah.
do anything like that. It was just because my grandmother has been sick. So we were just home with her and talking to her and just enjoying her because she wants everybody to be there. So that's what we did. But it was
Amen.
nice. It was still nice. Yeah.
So as far as resolutions, I think we're still working on them. It's like it's always, I think one of the biggest things is always the money thing, like kind of be better with our money. I think we always aspired, or we always know that we can do better. So how can I do better? How can I save a little bit more and things of that nature? So I think, that's one of the big ones. And then of course health. Always health is is always in the forefront. Not so much dieting anymore. Because always it's like, okay, I'm gonna start the diet. It's like always, I'm gonna start the diet and I'm gonna start the workout. But I think as I've gotten older, it's like my body is like, dude, you gotta slow down. And I was heavily like working out and lifting weights, and then I messed up my leg and had issues with my legs. So okay, I had to stop the gym and had to stop the running. So I haven't been running for like a couple of months now. It's been like almost 2 months, and I'm dying. I do have to say that I am dying because I can't go out and run, but or run as the way that I used to. So like I used to run every day or every other day. Now it's like maybe once a week or twice a week, and a lot slower because I haven't been doing it as often. So that's killing me. So it's kind of trying to figure out other ways that I can stay healthy, that I can stay active, that I can take care of my body. Again, after this leg injury, I know my body doesn't go back together as easily as it used to when I was younger. So I do have to take care of myself a little bit more. So it's again health, how to learn to manage the finances. And then of course, the goal of every parent is, try to keep your children safe and making sure that everybody is healthy as well. So that's a big one too, that's been in the forefront. So
Yeah, so Tangi, hi Tangi. She hasn't been able to watch us in a couple of weeks. So she said happy 2024. Tangi also, she's a runner. And she's been having to not she hasn't been able to run as much anymore. Part of it because of the weather as well, but she's been getting on that treadmill. Yeah, but she said, "I feel you, my sister. Use my 6K runs." So yeah, she's on that journey as well with the running like you are. I know that I've met a couple of like older people that I've met, and they were runners, but they just have a lot of knee problems once they get older. So have you thought about doing like maybe something less impacting?
Um, I think for me it's maybe trying to find, that thing, that's not gonna impact my body as much, that can give me the same like adrenaline feeling, or not adrenaline. For me it's running is very calming, and it's my very me time, because there's nothing that nobody else can help me do while I'm running. Only I can get me from point A to point B. So it's kind of like a very me time, and it's just, and then there's nothing I can do. I can either listen to music or I am alone with my thoughts. So that's kind of what running does for me. It's that time for me to be alone, and and I could tell you, sometimes I run and I cry while I'm running, and sometimes I'm laughing when I'm running. Sometimes, I tell myself, I'm like, what the heck are you doing? I'm watching Netflix while I'm running, so it just depends on how I'm feeling that day and what I want to do. So running is very much a me time. So it's finding that thing that I can be the same, without having to focus on anything else. So it's kind of like autopilot. I don't have to think about doing it because I know how to run. So I'm putting one foot in front of the other, and then I have all these other things happening in my head. So yeah, so for me it's kind of maybe trying to find that thing that I can do that can give me that same feeling and that same benefit or reward, I should say, as running does. I haven't found it. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's frustrating for me right now, like not being there. And then of course, I have like the last 10 pounds that I gotta lose, and it's like 10 pounds. It's like 10 pounds. It's like it's 10 pounds, and they won't come off. And then not being able to work out, it's kind of frustrating. But yeah, if you have any suggestion, anybody out there has any suggestions, I am open to suggestion. I am willing to try everything once, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, Tangi said try the elliptical.
Okay.
Try the
So, but
elliptical.
it's finding an elliptical machine that I can have at home, you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we talk about going to the gym and stuff, and I know I was working out and I was doing it. I mean, I was working out, I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to drive to Norfolk, which is about 30-minute drive for me, and I had a trainer there, and I was doing it. I did it for about 4 months, and twice a week, and it was great. It was working, but I got injured. So I know, it's just about getting into that routine and making it a priority. So yeah, we'll see. I'll
Yeah,
put it
just
on the list.
yeah,
I'll keep you
finding
posted, Maddie.
alternatives. You can't get rid of one habit. You have to replace it with something else. So you have to find the replacement for that habit that you have of running and that moment. I think that's what it is the moment. I started doing somatic exercises, which kind of deals more with is geared more towards like women and the stress that you. So it's very similar to yoga, but it's really like slow moving, and it does have yoga movements, but it has a lot of stretching of like the hip area and the torso area, because it supposedly releases stress from your body, the stretches that you do. So I've been doing it for a week now. I've been like faithfully doing it, and it's actually an app that I downloaded, and then it actually allows you to. It also comes with like a book, like a short read, like maybe 10-12 minute short read, and it tells you about your connection to your emotions with food, your connection, your automatic thoughts that you have with food or with people or with emotions. So it allowed me to see, like the other day I was sharing with a friend of mine, that I didn't realize that I connect food with my emotions. Like I knew that I had a food thing or a exercise thing, but I didn't know that they came together until I did an activity on the app, and it said, so pretty much I reward myself with food at the end of the day if I had a long day. And I have to learn to reward myself with something else. So luckily I don't go into like bench eating or anything like that, but I reward myself by going to this restaurant that I like, and I'm eating like fish and vegetables and mashed potatoes. But it's still I'm rewarding myself with food. So it was just something new that I learned about myself, that I didn't know that it was a connection. So it has kind of brought light to me a little bit, and because I'm not one to work out like that, so I think it's given me an introduction to at least have some type of movement with my body. We lost Maddie, but we'll wait for her. She'll try and get back on. But I just think it's important to start making changes. There's a lady that I was listening to, and she was saying, we're in a situation because we want to be in that situation. We're overweight, like we know what to do to lose weight, but we're just not doing it. We know how to natación. Yeah. So Lily said you should try swimming, Maddie. When she comes back on, we'll tell her. Running in the water. Yes, roaring. Yes. Thank you, Tangi, for giving us some feedback. We'll give those to Maddie when she comes back on. But just any type of movement. Yesterday, I was talking to my grandmother, and she's 88, and she's truly a trooper because she really overcame RSV while she was in the hospital, and her sodium hit uh, a life threatening level. I did not realize how important sodium is. Her sodium level was 106. Normal is 135. Anything under 120 is critical. So she was in ICU for about a week, and just hallucinating. You can, when your sodium level, because we always hear about sugar levels or cholesterol levels, but your sodium is also crucial. If it hits that critical stage, you can have a heart attack, you can die, you can have brain damage. So that's where she was at, and she was in ICU for a whole week, and they were kind of managing that. But yesterday we went to the doctor for a follow-up like a week ago, and he told her, had they not taken you to the hospital, you could have died. And he was like, most people your age don't make it when they get RSV. So she's truly like a trooper. She's a guerrera, like how they say it in my family. But I was talking to her yesterday, and she said I'm extremely flexible. I took her to the chiropractor a couple of months ago, and she could touch her toes. like easily, no problem. And she's 88. She was telling me yesterday that every morning she does exercises on the bed. So she's like stretching her legs, squeezing her legs, her arms, doing the little bicycle thing with her legs, but she's, laying down. And she said that's one of the reasons why she's so flexible today, being 88. So I just think it's important to, just to have movement. Um, to One of the things that I'm focusing on this year is an internal cleanse. So just making sure that my heart is in the right place, my thoughts are in the right place. In the mornings, I drink a glass of water, and as I drink the glass of water, I'm thinking about how it's coating the inside of my body and how I want it to be cleansed, so I can make better decisions throughout the day in reference to what I eat. Um, Also fasting, I think it does a good job, or just making good decisions about what we eat. Oh, Maddie's home. La magia de la tecnología. You see how quick that happens?
Abracadabra.
So Maddie, Tangi was giving us some good advice, and Lily, she mentioned swimming. Lily mentioned swimming. You could she said you could run in the water too. And I think Tangi said rowing, and correr en el agua, natación, the elliptical. So they were giving you some pointers, just some certain things to kind of try. I was telling the audience about my grandmother and her stretches that she does on the bed before she gets out of bed in the mornings. So just having movement, period, is important. So we were talking about that. So I don't know what, and I think sometimes too, like things happen for a reason, right? It's kind of like to do that self-reflection. Okay, so I'm being stopped on purpose from running, right? Like where else, what else could I be doing? Like I know the time that you had the sciatic nerve and you were on your bed doing the show, and I was like, this is your time to do your other book or whatever. But I think it just life has, a sense of humor where it just makes you do, and we just have to be accepting of what comes and just kind of roll with the punches and still find gratitude in the moment. What do you think?
Agree. Agree. I agree 100%. And that, that's what I said at the beginning. I was being very harsh on myself, for not being able to do, what I know how to do. Because the thing is that sometimes, we only know how to do things one way, and we get so focused, and this is what has worked for me. This is the only way that I'm gonna get to do this one thing. And again, for me was being focused on my, on losing the weight, and my weight loss journey. And it was like, okay, the only way you lose weight is by dieting and exercising. So that's all I've known. So that's what I was trying to do, diet and exercise. And then now I can diet, but I can't exercise. And, what do I do? So it was kind of like, but I do have to say, like you said, things happen for a reason. And I did go through my episode where I was very angry. I was very upset, and, kind of, like, what have I done to my body? That now that I feel like I'm physically better, or better equipped to be able to do this physical activity. Now I'm breaking down, and it's like, so you kind of start examining everything and buscándole la quinta pata al gato, como decimos nosotros, So it's like, okay, looking and reading in between the lines, and it's like, okay, no, just kind of come down. You can't do it this way, then let's try to do it that way, So it's been a lot of like adjusting, like you said, a lot of self-reflecting, kind of understand that things happen for a reason. Sometimes we need to switch things up and do things a little bit different, focus on ourselves maybe a little bit different, that maybe what we thought that we needed is not really what we needed. It might be just something else. So a lot of that has been happening, in my mind, in my body, in my soul, the past couple of months. So again, as far as the exercise part, is just kind of trying to do things in a different way that makes me feel the same way that other things used to make me feel. But yeah, it's kind of, again, slowing down and finding different ways to to get the same satisfaction. So I've been learning a lot about myself, and about
other things that I can do. I also tend to overwhelm myself when things don't go a certain way, or how I would expect them to go. I I'm a fixer. I want to fix everything. And sometimes there's some things that you cannot fix. And again, I'm learning that. And sometimes that sounds, a little dumb, because it's like, okay, God, we know that you can't fix everything. We cannot fix everything. Um, but again, it's just that, the mother in me, everything that happens to everybody around me, everything that happens to me, I want to fix it. I want to be able to say, okay, you can do it this way, do it that way, and it'll be okay. And when you can't do that, it's very frustrating and overwhelming. But it gets to a point where I've learned as an adult, you can only do what you can do. And then, you can't do it all. You can't do it all. It takes input of other people too. I cannot want to do it for you if you don't want to do it for yourself. Like, that has been a very hard lesson, to learn, that I'm still learning. So yeah, so I'm still working on it. And I think, that's the beauty of being human. Like, we never stop working on ourselves. We're always learning. We're always trying to find other ways to do things. And, we always constantly evolving. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Wow, that's a mouthful. But yeah, it's so true. Everything you said. It's just the constant like reflection of the mirror of, I was talking to my son and he's having like relationship issues and he's like, this is always happening. And I was like, well, maybe you need to look at yourself like, something that it's reflected back on you. Maybe you need to spend some time alone or, whatever it may be. And I think when we're alone, when we're single, or even if it's just even if you are married or in a relationship, you can still have your alone moments to kind of really meditate and say, okay, like, who am I? What am I doing, and why am I doing this? I do a lot of that in the mornings, just when I do my self reflection. And I actually do it at my office because I'm there by myself. And I love the setup of my office, and it just has become a routine this year, the 7 days of this year. But it feels good to be able to like examine me. Um, there was one of my friends sent me a video, and I forgot what the entire message was because it was really long. But the one thing that I meditated on, she said, "Tienes que pelear por ti." So like you have to fight for you, not for other people, but I have to fight for myself. And I just thought that that was mind boggling. And again, some things are like obvious, but when you actually hear that short phrase, another phrase that I've been meditating on is to have emotional wholeness. So emotional wholeness and pelear por mí, like those are my two that I've been focusing on the last 2 or 3 days, because that's what I want. I want to, and it's not because before I used to use the word control, like have control of my emotions, and now I've graduated from trying to have control to just understanding my emotions and accepting them, and that this is what they are, because I have been disconnected from them for such a long time that 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 acknowledging them has been a learning process for me. So that has been really crucial. um, and it has helped me to make adjustments in my life, to tell other people no, or I can do it later, or why don't you try this, because I can't come to the rescue like you, Maddie. You can't be the problem solver all the time,
Mhm.
because it's straining to you. Like, how can you fight for you if you're fighting for other people? Like, it's tough to do that.
Correct, correct. And if we cannot help others with a broken version of ourselves, And I like I said, I beat myself up, and when I can't fix something or whatever, it's like I kind of like break down completely, And I'm no good to other people around me if I'm not okay, So again, that has been another big lesson, that I've had to learn. And sometimes you got to take a step back and you got to take care of you, and it's not your fault, basically, just because you can't fix it, it doesn't mean that is your fault, that is broken, and again, when it happens like so close to you, it's like, okay, what do you mean it's not my fault, so it's hard not to take it personal. But I'm only one person, so yeah, so it's been something that I've been struggling with. But one day at a time, that's all we can do, because we're here, like you said, every day we wake up, it's a new opportunity to do it again and practice, and hopefully we make it through, and then we get another chance to do it again, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, just constant growth, constant improvement, constant of getting things that should not be in my life, and they get replaced with something else. Like, how people say one door closes, another one opens. But it's like one door closes and I need five to open, to kind of have that mentality. And also I started, it's probably been like 2 months now. I started trying to journal my emotions, and so last week I was feeling emotional, I think because of my monthly visitor, but also because of my kids. And I just felt like, what am I doing as a mother? Like, what's my role? What is the value system here? So I was like having all those questions, and I didn't have anything to write on, and I was in the car. So what I did is I just wrote myself an email. So like I found a way to make it happen to still journal, but not in my journal, like,
Mhm.
so I just, and I was sharing that with Tangi the other day, because I'm used to journaling. I found a way to still get it done. And even as I was writing, I was crying, but it was like healing crying. Uh,
Mhm.
and then and then like, cause I wasn't like, I've never been like in an emotional stage for more than 24 hours, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? Is it the somatic exercises I'm doing?
You have
Like,
a heart. Viviana has a
yeah,
heart.
I was like, oh my god, it's coming out. So because I couldn't stop it. Like, I was so emotional that day. It was crazy. And so then, but then the next day it got better. And the day after that, I started to then analyze, like, why was I feeling like that? What were the feelings that I was feeling? Like, I just did like an analysis of me. And at the end of the day, like, it is what it is, and it's okay. And that's who I am. So it was fine. It was fine, but it's like an emotional roller coaster, and then you get off the ride, and you're like, oh my god, I'm still alive. Everything is still operating, So it was a it was a nice experience because I'm learning me.
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
was cool. Yeah. Another thing that was suggested was ballet, African dancing, Zumba, salsa dancing. There's a lot of things that you can find, I don't know, joy in, because you love music. So,
I do, but it's again, it's what I said. It's doing one of those things that you're moving, but you're not thinking about what you're doing, and then I can think about all these other things that I have in my head, So it's kind
yeah.
of it's that, like not necessarily having to think about what I'm doing, but doing something, and then kind of being able. But again, yeah, all those like great
Awesome.
suggestions. I do love dancing. I love music. So again, it's finding that space.
Yeah. That's so interesting, right? Because it's like what is it they call it, like they have contact sports, right? And then I don't know the word opposite of that, but I know one of them is contact sports. So they were saying, like, for example, like basketball, you need your other classmates to, to participate, but like
Mhm.
swimming, you don't, kind of. You do
Mhm.
sometimes, right? But majority of the time. So it's like you need a sport that is not a contact sport with other people, like it's just your sport, because it's your moment of having conversations with yourself. So you
Correct.
can't do that if you're trying to follow directions as to how to do the Zumba dance, because you know what I'm saying, you got to like follow. So it's time taken away from having conversations with yourself.
Correct. Correct. I see Nicte over there. Hi, Nicte.
Hey,
We miss you.
yeah, yeah, we told our audience, oh, Tanji said you're gonna love the elliptical. But yeah, I told our audience when we got started, Nicte is gonna take a little break for this month because she's taking care of some family business. But she'll come back when she's ready. But yeah, there's so many things that we could do, Tanji. She said, "I promise you, you will love the elliptical." That's not bad. That's not bad. So yeah, so our hour is almost up and it went by really quick. And I know at the beginning we didn't do gratitude because I was here by myself. But we are both grateful that 2024 is here. We're grateful about the things that we learned in 2023 and before 2023. And again, it's constant work that that it's the self-love, the self-help, and sometimes it sounds selfish, but it's for the act of others as well, that we strive to be good people. It's not just for us, it's for everybody that's in our circle. And like we say all the time, we're role models and sometimes we don't even know it, because as you go and watch your niece perform, she's like, wow, like Maddie was there, and like 20 years from now, she's going to remember that you were there. So all of things are very significant. And I just want to like remind all of us again about the massive amount of money that we're spending, and just be like mindful as we spend the money too. And it's so interesting. So one of the things that I did, I kind of went through all my bank statements to make sure, because I know there's an app that you can download to find memberships or whatever that you're paying. But I really went through my bank statements to make sure that nothing is duplicated, and making sure that my money is being allocated in the right places, and also showing my children how to do that as well. So that, and then I'm proud of myself as well because I am doing and I'm sticking to doing those somatic exercises, and it's my time as well. And I like the activities because it's my time. Um, and I do have to think during those exercises, but at the beginning and at the end, I'm really like releasing and not thinking. I'm in like meditation state moments for those, like 2 or 3 minutes at the beginning, 2 or 3 minutes at the end. So I'm proud of that. And one of my resolutions is to do cleanse from the inside out. So that's one of the focus for me anyway. So, and then I get excited when I see statistics like the one that we were showing today, because we're so significant in this country. I mean, just worldwide, but if we just kind of think about this country alone, we're extremely significant, and the empowerment that we have and the influence that we have. We just got to make sure that we stay humble, as we do it.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things also that I read in the article, it was saying that our what was it, like our purchasing power and the
Yeah,
revenue, that our growth as a community, that if we separate that from this country, we are one of the fifth largest countries in the world. Like
yeah,
it's enough to power like a whole
a
country, one of the
country.
fifth largest countries in the world. So think about that, how strong we are, how big, how much we are growing. We're no longer we're so used to referring ourselves as a minority, a minority, smaller, making ourselves smaller than everybody else. Because again, that's what we've been programmed, and that's what we've been used to calling ourselves. That's what we've been referred to or refer as, to. So it's shifting that mentality and seeing how much we have grown. Again, that just going back to that mentality that I am not going back to my country because this is my country. That we could be of, in my case, of Dominican descent, but that doesn't mean that I don't love being an American, that I don't love being in the United States and the opportunities that I get by being here. And again, if I celebrate my culture, it's because one day I know I'm not going to be here, and my children that grew up and were raised in the United States are going to be in charge of sharing that. And if I don't talk about it to them and make it sink in, what knowledge are they going to have to kind of let the generation that comes after them? Like I always tell my children, my boys especially, there will always be Garcia. And when they have children, their children are going to be Garcia. And it doesn't matter what they do, they're going to be Garcia. Where did that Garcia come from? So that's important to me to be able to emphasize, to share, so that somewhere, somehow, even if it gets watered down, it's still spicy like us.
Yes, definitely. I love that. So we're ready for your poem, because our hours, it goes by so quick. It's crazy. Um, Crazy, crazy. But yeah, we're ready for your poem, Maddie. All right.
Yeah.
The
So
first poem of the year, 2024, from Maddie Garcia.
So first, I just want to say that I'm very grateful again for this platform, for having the opportunity to be able to speak, to say a lot and say nothing. Because sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, okay, I am not equipped to be here and giving anybody advice or talking about some of the things that we talk about. Yet I am, and I have the opportunity to be able to do so, and I am so grateful for that. I am a student of life. I am very aware that we learn from each other. We learn from watching each other. That's the school of life. And I am grateful, to have you, Viviana, to have Nikki, in my life, and kind of watching you guys, even if it's from far, and learning from you guys. So grateful for that. Grateful for everything that we went through in 2023. And I hope that we can make a big difference, not only in our lives, but in the people that are watching us. And if we can impact one person, then we've done our job. So this is going to be a short and sweet poem. It doesn't even have a title. And it just kind of talks about the duality that we kind of been going through in our heads, So sometimes there are tears that need to be cried, to wash away the nagging blues and the painful reds or blacks and get in the way of you and you. Because sometimes I swear I am too. The one I'm thinking, the one that's thinking, and the one that is at times like an accordion contracting. They almost become the same. And just when there is almost no space, it expands. Looking back, they almost don't look alike, but they are both me. In nagging blues, in painful reds, shameless blacks, looking into each other's eyes. Both different, but with one heart. The one I'm thinking and the one that is. Understand that sometimes things can't be fixed, and I hurt no matter which one I am, because sometimes there are tears that just need to be cried.
I love it. Nicte would have loved this poem with the colors. I'm sure, and she's listening, so I'm glad she's listening so she could listen to the colors. That was amazing. Nikki says, so grateful for you ladies and the show, and Mark, our producer. Yes, it's amazing. We're very grateful. Thank you, Maddie. I hope you have an amazing week. I hope that you find your feel good physical activity soon. Yes, yes. So have an amazing week, and we'll see you guys again next Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Nos vemos el próximo domingo a la misma hora en el mismo canal. Nos pueden ver por Pat TV, Facebook y LinkedIn todos los domingos a las 4 de la tarde. So we're here every Sunday Eastern Standard Time. You can watch us on Pat TV, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well, which our graceful producer Mark always makes the magic happen for us. So thank you so much. Have a great week on purpose, Maddie said. And then she also said something about her son. Her son is Aiden. She said, beautiful. My son Aiden said that was tough.
Tough. Thank you, Aiden.
Tough. Yeah, he's a teenager, so hey. And he's all about that. He loves music and he loves poetry and all that good stuff like his mom. So thank you, Aiden. All right. Well, have a great week. Thank you, Mark.
Dove Youth Development is a non-profit organization in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic that strives to engage and inspire Dominican and Haitian youth to discover new opportunities through education and love. Through child sponsorships, volunteering, and donations, you will help us provide food, education, and a safe environment to continue changing lives one child at a time. For more information on ways to make a difference, please visit doveyouthdevelopment.org and follow us on our social medias. #DoveLove.
I just need to be left alone right now, man.
No, Cam. I think the problem is that you've been left alone way too much.
Life's hard. The world is complicated.
Remember, you are not alone.
Love you, girl. I love you too.
Mental health challenges are common, treatable, and often preventable. It's time to talk about it.
It's time to defy the fear and stigma that has made so many suffer in silence.
Instead, dare to love yourself and others.
Dare to ask for help and support.
You guys.
Dare to listen and show up for the people around you.
Join the conversation.
I always talk to black women, they don't want to talk to me. The minute I talk to a white woman,
are just so impressed with them. Like I said, we've been with them for years. I will recommend and refer anyone to them. We stand by A+ academics. They're the best.
A+ tutorial really did help me with all my grades. They all went up when I came to this place. And I would say I recommend this school to everyone.
So it's a really good environment to be in, especially for me because it makes me look up to my parents.
If you have students that need academic help, A+ Academics is the place to be.
A+ Academics, what a great place to go for academics.
It's just a really great place to learn.